Hello, in this video we're going to learn how to send emails using Python, and we are going to use Gmail for this tutorial. And as a result, you need to have created a Gmail account in order to follow along with this, and I do recommend creating a backup, well, not a backup, a second Gmail account which you don't care about, because we have to make the account itself less secure. So don't carry this out on your main Gmail account. Carry this out on a second account, essentially. So once you've made your second account and you've got your Gmail inbox displayed, you need to go to your Gmail profile here and click on Google account. This brings up the Google account tab, and now you need to go to security and go to less secure apps, and you need to turn on access for the less secure apps. This allows for Python to connect and send emails from this account, and that is why I recommend not to use your main account for this tutorial. You need to have two modules installed. You need to have the SMTP library, and you need to have the config library. The config library is optional. However, for this tutorial, I believe that it's important to hide the email address and password of your Gmail account, because Python needs to have those two pieces of information in order to log in and send emails from your account. So we need to define a function, and we're going to call this define a function. We're going to call it send email, and in this function we're going to pass three variables. We're going to pass the subject, we're going to pass message, and we're going to pass recipient email. Okay, so when we're in the function, we're going to make a try. We're going to make a try except. In the try section of the try except, we need to define our server object, which is server equals smtp lib dot, and then it should be smtp all caps, and then open brackets, and pass in this very important string, smtp gmail .com, and then a colon, and then 587. If you're using a different email provider, this will be different. You need to go onto the documentation of the SMTP library and find out what you need to put into this command in order for it to work. But for this, for Google Mail, it is smtp.gmail.com colon 587. So once you've done that, we're going to now do our protocol for connecting to the Gmail server. So you need to do server.ehlo open and close parentheses, and you need server.start TLS and leave the parentheses. And now we are going to log into the Gmail account by doing server.login, and then we're going to put config dot, and then email address, comma, config dot email address. No, not config dot email address. Config dot password. We've already passed the email address. Okay, so that's the two pieces of information you need to pass in, the email address and the password, in order to log into the account. And now we're going to make our message, i.e. the subject and body of the email itself, we're going to put subject and then semicolon and then a pair of curly brackets and then 2 new line statements together and then another curly bracket, and we're then going to do dot format and pass in subject and message. Now this is called formatting a string, and essentially we're substituting the curly braces with the variable subject and the variable message. Okay, so once we've done that, we need to do server dot send mail, and we're going to pass in config dot email address again, and we're going to pass in the recipient email, and we're going to pass in the message variable we've just defined there. This command actually sends the email address, not the email address, the email to the recipient, and then once we've done that, we need to quit off the server by doing server.quit. Okay, now except we're going to do in the except we're just going to print a statement saying email not sent as our error handling, and we're just going to print here email sent to confirm that the email has been sent. Now this is the see the way we've got config dot and then a variable. We need to create this config file, so you need to go and define a new Python file in the directory which your script is located and name it config. So now that you have this config file, in the config file you need to define the variables stated in the script. So we're going to do email address, and that's going to be equal to the Gmail address that your Gmail account is, and then you're going to need to pass in the password as well there. So define password for your Gmail account. So for example, test@gmail.com, and then password 123, but you need to use the credentials for your Google account. So I will cut the video here, and I will assume you've filled the details out correctly. So now that you've filled out the config file, we now have to we have to define the subject and message of the email, so that we can pass it into the function. So subject, we're going to make for this tutorial, I'm using like a promotional email address for a restaurant. So I'm gonna say the subject is new deal available, and then the message itself, MSG, equals new 2 for 1 for all mains on our menu. Just as an example, and then we must define the recipient's email, and I'm going to set that to my personal email for this computer, so that way it pops up. And then we're going to just call this function. So send email, and then we're going to pass in our subject, our message, and finally the recipient's email. Okay, so we're going to run this, and email sent. So hopefully in a couple of seconds that email should pop up. There we are. And as we can see, the subject is new deal available from the cafe fish mailer at gmail.com. 2 for 1 for all mains on our menu. So that's how to send an email using Python. Now, of course, you may want to, if you have lots of emails you need to send, you have the same email you need to send to lots of people, you can loop the function. So if we change this to recipient email addresses, or even better, just email list, and then have and then just pass in the ideally you'd have different emails, but for this we're just going to use the same one multiple times. So let's say you have 3 emails in your email list, and it's and they should be all different, but for this we're just going to pretend they are different. I know these are all the same, so I'm going to do a for loop. So we're going to iterate through this list. So for email list, sorry, for email in email list, and then we're going to do we're going to just repeat this function. I'm going to pass in email there, and we're going to run this, and that should send the email 3 times. There we go, email sent. So we should see 3 notifications pop up. There's one. Maybe since they're all the same email, it will only come up once. Hold on. Oh, but there's see there's 3 alerts now. So if we go back here, yep, as you can see, we've received 3 more of these emails. So they're all spam. So anyway, so that's how you use Python and Gmail to send emails. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching.